Welcome to day 4 of live streaming the game development. Our new game, currently called The Dream Machine. That name is a working title, but if you want to go to our Discord channel, you can vote on our other options or submit your own. So definitely go over there, take a look, and submit your options, and we'll pick the best one at some point during the creation of this game. By all means, Dream Machine is not what we're looking to go for, so all input is wanted and needed. So jumping right in for day 4, we're going to be diving back into our Unity project. We're going to finish up some of our scenes, or at least create some more content for some of our scenes. Specifically the intro scene or splash screen, the menu, or we're going to do some work also on our bunker scene. For those of you guys that are new to the stream, this is a game that we're currently working on called Dream Machine. It's about a boy and a father who pretty much they get into a bunker right before a huge apocalyptic event, and they have to survive inside this bunker. But since the boy grew up in this bunker, he hasn't really experienced much, and so the father, who's kind of like this scientist slash engineer, he develops this machine called the Dream Machine, and it allows him to control his son's dreams while he's sleeping. And so you'll play as the boy, and you'll be able to go into the Dream Machine, and there's 10 different levels. Basically each one will be kind of a different point in history, almost kind of like a history lesson. And what's really going on is you're learning how to play the game, and you're building up skill points, and then eventually something's going to happen, and you'll have to come out of the Dream Machine and help your father. You realize that bunker, and there's a good twist here. Definitely go to the website here, icebreakergames.com/dreammachine, and there's a big twist. I'll let you go there to take a look at it, but by all means, take a look. If you join our Discord server, provide feedback, provide ideas, suggestions, you name it. We're doing this all live, and nothing's going to be set. So I really enjoy having input from you guys, and I think that the more people that we get involved in this, the more fans we get involved, the more input we get involved, the better this project's going to be overall in the long run. So, dive right in. So, I went ahead and installed this new GUI Pro Kit, the sci-fi one. Now, I'm not sure at this point if this is going to really truly fit what we're looking for as far as the UI interface for the game, but I think it's going to be a good start. And so this is one that I picked up a while back ago off the Unity Asset Store, and by all means I recommend purchasing things like this if you can when it comes to game development. It's really hard, and it's really time consuming to create a lot of this stuff from scratch. So I went ahead and downloaded this particular asset pack. I don't think I imported it yet, so we'll go ahead and do that now. And what we'll do is we'll kind of dissect some of those buttons and UI elements. We'll figure out what we can use in our project. So definitely I recommend using the asset store if you can. Like I said, it speeds things up, makes things so much easier, so much faster. If you're a one-man team and you're just kind of looking to put together a prototype, like I do a lot of times, using the asset store seems to help out quite a bit. So once this is installed, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the elements that it comes with. A lot of times it includes a Photoshop files that you're going to be able to upload and then edit into Photoshop, so that's kind of nice. I do spend a lot of time in Photoshop, so I recommend downloading that as well if you have it. I think I have an Adobe package that pretty much has everything. Really nice. Spend maybe $20, $40 a month on that, and it pretty much gives me everything I need. Adobe Premiere, Photoshop to Illustrator, and so I pretty much use that stuff on a day. Definitely recommend it. So this should be done fairly quickly. It is actually a large file, almost half a gig. And most of the time it's just those Photoshop files where you can go in and everything. But they'll pre-create they pre-create they pre-create some of the setting scenes and whatnot, which is really nice. So you don't have to guess on a lot of this stuff when your UI element. So if you remember right, we started with just some very generic stuff on day 3, I think it was. I'm gonna go ahead and play through that really fast, just to kind of show you where we're currently at, and then where we are hoping to go. We have kind of the splash screens for my company's games. We have the sound associated with that, and then we're just gonna go right into kind of the title. Now, I don't think we'll keep that text, but for now it works. And then some buttons. Now, these buttons, the quit button does work, and the new game button works. But obviously we're not going to want to keep this, and it doesn't look very good at this point. I'd like to, the goal for today is to get this probably styled up pretty well. Maybe not 100% to where we're going to keep it, but definitely way better than what we're looking at right now. Also, if we click new game, it just immediately loads our first scene that we did days 1 and 2, which was the bunker scene. Now, we didn't do any of the camera work here, which we might be able to do that today as well. But you can see that we created this bunker, and this is going to be our first initial scene when you go into it. But I had an idea, and I want to kind of perfect it a little bit today. But I'm thinking about using this general image or this general part of the bunker for our menus. Now, of course, I'd like to add some cool like particle effects or some cool lighting, things to that nature. You can see the scene itself is actually pretty dark and absent of light, so it looks pretty plain. But if we can make this scene look really good, stylize it up pretty good, then I would use this as our menu, because I feel like since this is the actual Dream Machine itself, we can use this area of his workshop. I think it kind of shows a little bit about what our game is truly about. So that'll be another goal as well, is just get this scene up and looking better. I think we did a good job placing in all these models and these assets, but I'd love to maybe put in some lighting off of like some of this, maybe even having some lighting off the ceiling. I'm even tempted to raise this a little bit, give us a little bit, kind of feel like, kind of gives us this look like ramped up right now. I haven't 100% decided on that yet. I think we might. So going back to, if I go ahead and turn this off, back in the menu screen, I'm going to go back into 2D mode. Take a look at it. So let's start off maybe by trying to come up with something better for these buttons. We use the generic UI buttons for Unity, so this is by no means something you should keep in your games if you quit it. But let's take a look. We downloaded that GUI Pro Kit, and we'll see what they have in here. We can see right off the bat, if you go into their prefabs, there is some common buttons here. And we may have quite a few options. Of course, it doesn't help to you don't get actual previews of these. But let's just say we were to drag this in, still not even sure. I usually don't use their prefabs anyway. I'm just kind of curious what they had here. They also have a bunch of these previews. This is kind of like their idea of what things should look like. So we could take some of this stuff. I do like some of their ideas. I'm gonna go ahead and lower the music just a tad. I feel like it might get loud. But if you look at some of these previews, they're just an image file. They're PNGs. But they kind of show what this GUI packs, what their idea was for that particular scene. You can see they had some, these are like lobby images, may even have character selection, weapon selection. We don't have to use these exact examples, but like I mentioned in some of the other videos, I definitely recommend using some type of reference when you create a lot of this stuff. It's really hard to come up with things just 100% from scratch. You do this with whatever you're creating. If you're creating a bunker, we use some of the reference we created from Midjourney. Creating any type of UI elements, I recommend just looking up other games UI concepts. Learn a lot, and you learn what he's doing and what's kind of standard. You can see up in this top right hand corner they have a lot of their currencies up there. Pretty standard having, especially in mobile, you know, having your currencies up in the top right hand corner, having health on the top left corner, your character portrait up in the left hand, that's always nice to have. So these concepts will adapt. I do like this, even though they spelled pause wrong, which is kind of funny. This concept here is pretty standard. But I do like it. It's very minimalistic, and it's, you know, gonna just black out whatever's going on in the background, and then give you options, whatnot. So what I'd like to find is maybe just these blue buttons here might work for the new game login setting and quit button. We may also do something where it's not blue unless you highlight it. This is going to be a PC game. Now here's some of the graphics here. So you can see a lot of these are just PNGs that somebody created in Photoshop. You can use them however you want. If I pull up my canvas now, I scroll down to the new game button. You'll notice that I have a source image, this device right here. And if I select this circle, it gives me all the options that I can now select, change the way that my button. So, or what we could do is even just drag our image we want this one. And now you can see our button already. I will say too, the reason why it's white, all of these, because when you make the image white, then it allows you to change the color inside Unity. You wouldn't have to pull these images back up in Photoshop and then change color, re-import it back into. You can do it all through the editor. A lot. Let's say we want this button to be. You can see I have full spectrum of colors here, so you can play around and figure out what you. Now, if we go back to, I might just leave some of these previews open. Or I might even just open up their Photoshop file. That way I can have Photoshop open on my other screen and I can look at how they set up some of the buttons. Replicate that here much easier. Now these are all of the actual PSD files. So for example, this button here, if I wanted to see how they did this, I can just open up this file automatically. Now you can see it looks pretty good. There's a ton of individual layers here, but in general, if we wanted that button there, you can see they kind of layered 3 different concepts on top of each other. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Now I'm gonna try to replicate that I did. I'm also curious what they have in the demo scene. I'm gonna open the Steam additive, which is also a really cool trick that a lot of designers use. They'll open up at the exact same time. Now we can navigate to this page, copy what we need, and then immediately just put it on our. See, the button's already here, this tap to start button. We even have this Facebook button here with nice icon, nice text Max Pro. We don't need the actual Facebook part of it, but we can see here is that exact image that they're using. And then all I gotta do is just unload that scene for now. Go back into my new game, drag in the new concept back into now you can put our buttons in. And we can do quite a few features here where they, well, this is what it's going to look like for now, but then once you press it, change colors. For now, I'll leave it at that as blue. Go ahead and do that to these. And then I'm going to change these text. I'll probably change white. We may also on the font size a little bit. Go with the 20. Now, I'm not a fan of the original fonts that come with Unity. We really only get Liberations and these other ones came with downloaded pack. But in general, I like to use something else. You can download any type of font that you Unity, and then you would just right click on that to create a font pack. I think actually that I kind of like whatever this might just that one. I think that gives us a little bit space. Now if we push play on this, then I got push escape, skip through that intro scene. You can see right away our buttons look quite a bit better. Then when I click that, you can see there is some feedback to show that we are actually officially clicking. I like that. You could also put something actual panel itself. If we want to do something like this. Change up the alpha here. Not sure this looks good, but that's just an example. I think for now we may not have kind of background with that. In the Photoshop example, they use this kind of like their panel. We will do that, but we'll probably do it in editing. Not sure if we. I think this is going to be fine for now. Let's go ahead and go back into our other scene, our bunker. And like I said earlier, I want to kind of perfect this corner. Over here where the dream is at. Because this is exactly the spot that I want to use behind our view. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn lighting on. And hang on some light. If you look at the player itself, or the parent, he's pretty tall. I'm gonna be walking roughly this height. Remember, we're gonna be playing at child. The ceiling may not be as bad as also this machine, but the way it does it does open. As long as we have enough room player to get to that. Once we actually create the character and the camera associated with them, I might adjust it. I kind of put where I think the camera should maybe go. And then I'm gonna go up here to game object, find it. Now you can see that we have, if we go to our game view, we have essentially our main camera is now aligned generally. Our field of view might be increased actually. View. That looks quite a bit better. Now we're going to stylize this scene right here. I definitely want to have something off of this light here. And in general, almost everything you saw that we put into this picture was static. And what I mean by that is it's not going to move. So Unity kind of has two different options here when it comes to props or assets. That's static versus dynamic. Dynamic is something that move, so it's going to need a little bit more processing power for that particular item. Whereas things that are static that aren't going to move, aren't going to change, Unity can kind of pre-process a lot of the information and determine, you know, how it wants to do things, especially with like lighting. So, what I'd like to do here is I'm going to create another game object, which is here, call it static. And I'm going to create another one. I'll call that dynamic. So, like I said in episode 1, for day 1, these empty game objects are almost like folders, kind of a file structure. Helps with organization. All of this stuff here, for now, I'm static. With dynamic, that's where I prefer to store my. So when I create a light for this particular lamp here, this is where I'm going to want. Even though, in general, we're going to want it positioned perfectly here. Make it easier to find. For now, I'm going to right click here and we're going to create light. I think we're going to do probably. It actually doesn't matter too much. I'm going to put in a spotlight. You can see immediately on the wire here. Go. Move that. Here you can kind of see light showing up onto the chair here. Now we're going to want to pretend like this light is coming from. Now I'll tell you what, this an art form. Very difficult. You almost can do it right. You don't. When you do it right, my old boss tell me all the time. You do it right, you'll never notice. But if you do it wrong, okay, everybody. Kind of the way the lighting works. By even just having it like this, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. There's also not really the tone. It kind of gives off this. So we're gonna have to play around with it. We also have a couple other different types of lighting. Right now I'm in the spotlight. We do directional. We kind of radiate everywhere almost. Sun. Don't want that. Point light is something we use that looks kind of more realistic. You can also use it in combination. We could have two different types. But the problem with this one how it still radiates throughout the scene. Doesn't matter. Light just kind of go up everywhere. Down the intensity a little bit. That's looking. Go ahead and create another light here. Back to the spotlight. Turn gizmos on. When you turn gizmos on, you can kind of see where that ray of light is going to go. But I'm going to decrease on some. I try to replicate that which is fairly difficult. Lighting is definitely something that can be fun, but can also be very. Now we have these angles here and range. Don't need the range so high. Just want it to kind of touch the desk. Fine. Also. This is the lens, how it's kind of wide here. I think I'm going to increase phone here. That makes a little better. Get rid of the spotlight. Or this is the point light. This one actually looks pretty decent. Not giving up light behind what we would. Whereas if toggle, notice how the light's going up. Not sure. I mean, maybe that's what we want. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel this. We can maybe increase the intent. We go back to our game view. That's like that. Now, I will say a bunch of people always say, "Hey, well, graphic itself doesn't." And you're definitely right. But I will say that is something we are going to have to make or work on later. Because we're going to want to create kind of a bright I guess maybe one example, but I don't know. So we create a cube. We're going to resize that cube almost to the point where it's going to look like the now, like I said earlier, it's really fine things to you're gonna want to get it last week. What we're gonna do, obviously this isn't good yet, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new material. We can then add this material to our cube. You can see now our material is bright white. When it comes to heater, we're going to want something different. Because we are using URP liquid. I want to say unlit. Notice now it looks and there's more stuff we could do. I think for now that would work. So let's try to position better. There is times where you look at the actual prop. Sometimes there is different materials for different parts of the prop, so it's really easy. Just change the material for that particular height. Fortunately, we do not have that option. We change the entire material, this entire desk is now going to. That's why I said we kind of probably now you could have maybe went with a plane. Do this with a plane as well. If you right click in your hierarchy, you can create 3D object called a plane. Plane is like a thin sheet of paper. Could have done that as well. Notice how this piece actually has depth. on that particular cube. Very painfully feels like it fits a little better. Rotating it. Don't want any of that gray here. Now, I don't know if I would recommend doing it this way, or don't know if I'd recommend doing this. Wouldn't recommend doing this for a lot of stuff. We're doing this for our review. You can see we're not ever gonna get to this object. So from here, this is as far as the closest we're gonna get. You can kind of tell already that we're not perfect. That it doesn't look too bad. That it looks like the light is on, like that cube that. But if we ran with this scene view, the player could get much more closer. So I think that we are gonna need more lighting than just that, obviously. But I will go ahead and delete light. Peak. I'm going to probably leave that cube, but I'm going to take this spotlight here, and I'm going to holder here with the lights. Now it'll be much more defined stuff. I do want to put some type of computer graphic on here. That would be pretty quick. So what I do, I use an Adobe product that I love. I'm gonna do a quick search here. For this is kind of what down here is kind of what I'm thinking. Kind of a bunch of programming, a bunch of coding. That would be kind of cool to place that on there. Maybe let's maybe even use something like this one here. This one would actually be really cool because it shows human activity. So I really like this one. So let's refresh. I do have an Adobe stock login and account. So I do get a certain amount of assets per month. So the reason why I like doing this is now I don't have to worry about usage rights. I can go ahead and license this particular file, pretty much use it however I. There are some different, stipulations. I think if I wanted to use this particular thing to make t-shirts or something like that, I think, when it's on a product or a design, I think it's a little different as far as the copyright usage. I think particular case. So it downloads this Adobe stock AI. I'm going to go ahead and open that up in Icebreaker. Probably won't be able to use the entire image since it's so wide. But it would be cool if we could figure out a way to maybe have it maybe cycle through the two different images. Essentially like cut it in half maybe, or maybe even cut it into thirds. Monitor Unity is pretty small. It's not the widescreen monitors. Yeah, I could almost cut it into thirds, have it cycle through the three different images. We do want to put something here, but I don't think this image there. So how do we want to do that? I think yeah, it's even got world. I think I'm just going to export the entire thing. And I'm gonna open it up with Photoshop, which I already had opened. I don't think we have to be 3% size with it. Kind of just real rough. Let's say we want that to be. I'll go ahead and import this as PNG as well. Thoughts. And this here. Greatest of picking up. Crop it. All this screen 2. Now you can just drag in those PNGs into your file here. Add the user. And we're going to change. We don't need to change them. Right. We're going to want, like we did earlier with the divided cube here, we're going to want to create, probably we can do a plane this time. Get a nice flat. I'm going to go down to the object. You could still use a cube here if you really wanted to, because you can shrink a cube down pretty thin. We're also going to want this to look like it. So it's going to kind of radiate white light. Now, the rule of thumb that I usually do with this, you can see about that part is being through. That tells me my not good. I go ahead and rotate it just a little bit so now I don't see it. Move this forward just like hair. We have a pretty good angle now. I mean, it looks like it. I'm gonna go ahead and size a little. You don't want it too big because that's just less. Actually, now that I've shrunk it down a little, see, alright, this that one. I think just moving it. So what we can do is right click on the image here. We're going to create a material. Call this. I go ahead and drag this up here. Now when I apply this to the screen, and of course, like I said earlier, we're going to change illuminates a bit. We're going to go down here to unlit. Our game here, you can now nice computer screen. Now we want to do that for the other two screens as well. Material. You drag this into there. RP. Now if I just drag it into this. Do this very last one. Change this to unfit. That one too. So let's just quickly, since we're already here, we're already thinking about it, let's create a Playmaker script that cycles through these on the actual plane itself. Playmaker, you add F1 for those of you who don't know Playmaker and did not. Was day 3's. stream. Icebreaker is an amazing visual scripting solution you can get off of assets. I think it's like $60, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely pretty much do anything you want using Playmaker that you could do through it. Now there are stuff that I still use regular scripting for, but Playmaker just makes things like you're about to do so much quicker. And then all Playmaker scripts, and you'll hear me talk about Playmaker probably a million times through. But what Playmaker really does well is, backed by actions that you would actually be able to go into the actual code. I never do. So it's almost a way of having all of that code just readily available to time. We're gonna rename this. Let's say green. I'll rotate or cycling this here. Create array. All this green materials. The array type would be material. 3 different ones. So 3. And so what we're going to essentially do here, we're going to cycle through these 3 materials every so many seconds. So let's create a timer. Call it 8 seconds. We're going to add after 3 seconds, we're going to go down to finish with so it'd stay at 1 on this wait. So after 3 seconds, it's going to move on to 2. 2, we want to change to this plane, but we're going to want to get it from the array. So I'm going to type in array. So created the array already, so we'll specify it. Have a couple other concepts here that we're going to want to do. But in general, as soon as it gets that very first material, we're going to set. Let's say let's do it. Not going to want to are on the actual stuff, so using honor would next state to the result from that array material. So we're going to set the material to that new array material. That's pretty. I think what I want to do. We want it to reset every time it gets the three materials. We want it to start over again with the very first material. So have this in here. That. Now it should automatically, once it gets reset gray. Start all the way over. We do have a finished event. That's when it's gone through all three materials. Now it's considered. Not sure if that's. But we'll give it a try. So basically, we're waiting 3 seconds. We're getting the next material in the tray and back to wait for. You can see it's been 3 seconds. It just changed. 3 seconds changed again. Now the question is, will it change? It's just gonna cycle through 3 seconds, changing that material. And if we look at this from the playmaker standpoint, the wait time 3 seconds. There and pop. Easy. If you didn't watch the other Playmaker streaming day, I do also set a watermark. Very first. What this does is if you're working with a team, you can have each individual person on the team have their own watermark. Anybody who works, they will know that it's created by me. They could get with me but try to figure out what house. We'll also change the name of this. Or actually, I'll just call it Get Next. And this time is good to go. Then might change this. Okay. I'll rename this plane. Green plane. Perfect. All right. Now we do have this monitor over here as well. Probably the first thing we want to do is maybe give this monitor a little bit, which is probably gonna need another. Now let's call it a white light. Way right then. Lower that intensity, maybe we can do 0.1. There. Also, drag this out of the way. See this really nice yellow color. We can select that. Now this color now. Now, if we do it behind it, you can see it radiates through the material. I don't want to drag this out a little, out into the front of it. That doesn't look too bad. It kind of does glow, radiate in all directions. Which I think makes a little bit more sense than this particular lamp, because this lamp is kind of facing downwards. Whereas this one's facing straight out, it kind of illuminate or glow into the so look at that. We could adjust maybe we don't are actually 10. Not a huge fan of that show behind. I think it's not too much. That I think will work. I don't have an idea really what to put on this particular screen. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to put them in the chat or post them to Discord. I will put up the Discord link here in the chat as well. But you know, we're gonna want it very similar to this, but maybe not as nice as graphics. This looks kind of like a old, kind of rudimentary screen, and it may only have black font or texture on it instead of having a colored monitor like this. So ideally, I think we could maybe just find a bunch of cycle. We definitely don't want it to do the exact same. Look different. We look back at other screen. You can see this code right here. Be pretty ideal. Although it is colored, we could still find a way to remove that coloring, just have a black and white version. But I would love it to be longer. We would just, for now though, let's go ahead and this one. Probably gonna come as, it's gonna come as an AI or other file. So I'm going to pick up later. One. Yeah, that's pretty good. I it's has nothing to do with the actual Dream Machine project. Maybe that's something we could create our own coding. Do it that way. Heck, let's do that. Let's this would actually be a good time to go into ChatGPT. So if you guys haven't heard or haven't seen already, ChatGPT has been taking everything by storm. So I love ChatGPT and I use it all the time, and you can use it. So go ahead and go to the other monitor. Yeah, I have GPT logged in here. Go ahead and enable plugins, but I don't for this. And I'm just gonna say write Unity code C# Alright. Might just say need it to actually we just need to be hypothetical. And we'd like it to be have long lines. A lot of lines. Call it a fictional. Call it right. Fictional code in C# that could present code used track. I don't even know. Someone's stats while asleep. Doesn't need to compile. Okay, if it has errors. And let's see what it writes. I've never had to do a fictional code before. This is the first time. But you can see right away it's Sleep Tracker app. It's creating a bunch of stuff here. It seems like it's more geared towards, you know, our actual project. It's gonna come in this particular graphic. We can just do a screen capture or snip. Go. I'm gonna zoom out so we can get the entire thing. Pull up my snipping tool. I guess we do have some cutoff here. That's one issue. I'll probably do it a little differently because I want it to include all this. Go ahead and zoom back in. Back over here, we're gonna create. This is just gonna be temporarily. Create that image. Hot test. Up in there. Don't need this. All right, and then we're going to take picture. And comment here. Comment. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to use that snipping tool again. I think this will work. Although it does show my here and That'll work. Save it. Capture it. Go for that code. This test script. I'm going to take our capture. Now, I did mention that we probably don't want all this coloring to it, but let's take goes up first. So this time just different. I'm gonna go ahead and create a loop here. I'll go ahead and create the material. Call it yellow. Capture here. Notice how with cubes, image gets applied to all sides. Are also fit back down. I have a couple issues. Not just rising. Already see one we're gonna round out our yellow. Which didn't want. Even though this works, you know, we don't have to have this whatever color we want. That doesn't look. But in general, I do like to have, you know, multiple colors seen. I kind of wanted to find a way to do that. We do have some options, but it's all going to include custom. Take your capture here. What you can do is you can go ahead and show it in the Explorer, and then it's going to pop up the actual folder, and then we can open that up in now you can see we got it open here. A couple things we can do right off the bat. We could get rid of all this black here. Maybe if we do here to work very well, and we'd also have to worry about in between each letter. We could also go up to selection and do color range. I would select back. You just go ahead and create kind of a shape layer. Okay. This is what gets hard to read there. Black background. Not too bad. We also lost a little bit of that color which I'm good with. We want to lose all of it. Let's try to do adjustment here, black and white. Want it to pop a little bit more, so I might end up putting all. Once again, you can't really see it. All that black glare, but now. One thing I didn't think about is we're gonna have put cube off here for some. We have it on top of a yellow, white background. But I told you guys earlier, the cool thing about Unity is it imported as white. That's the. I'm gonna go ahead and but do for now. Let's import it in over here. Now, if we change this material, turn this cube, get the white. That's because the transparency lost. Like that. Might off. A lot of times you're gonna that's have to not gonna that coloring because of the fact unlit. We're also not going to get that glow effect. Wondering at this back. We can go ahead and just try this fast. Blending option. Have to change background. You can see it does still looks decent. It looks like there's some blurring to it. Try this one. Captures. You can see the text a little better. a distance, it's not gonna look. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe switch back to the inlet. Definitely think we have plenty of white. I don't want to. If you look at that's quite a bit better. Now, if you want it to scroll, have more issues. Easiest would be to move the object. So say the object was big. Easiest way would just have a bit of space over inside the box here. Not too bad. Roll it back up. Just coming out top. Roll it back down and almost coming out of the bottom. That would be our scrolling. Not fast, but enough to create some type of motion in the actual text. I think that even though it's ghetto and like I said, it's the easiest way to do it. It's probably, we're faking it, faking the scrolling concept. Hey, that's the way you do it. We're gonna go ahead and create new animation. We're gonna call it scroll. Then push the record button. After 2 seconds, screen is going. Oh. Here you can. Up. Seconds might still be a little fast. Now we don't want it to just reset. We're gonna want it to go back. So if you go into the actual on entry, it's gonna turn in go to the screen scroll. May want to do once you're finished, do the exact same thing, but and then if you select on the actual transition, see we has an exit time. That means as it's done with that animation, it's going to cycle through. We're also going to go into this animation folder, this screen scroll, or we're not. Now if we push play, we go ahead and come in here. Let's going down, stops, back up. Not quite the way I'd want it to. I'm wondering maybe we should put a delay at the top and a delay at the bottom. It's also going way too fast. Go back in the animator. We can slow this here too. I tend to not do it this way just because sometimes you forget that speed of the animation. If you ever use that animation somewhere else down the line, you want it to be like confused why one is moving. In general, I put it here. So we had it at 4 seconds. Double it. Better. Around, go back. Game view, you can kind of see that something's happening. I tell what's happening, but motions. I think that's gonna we ideally want for a menu. We did it all in animation. Actual. Be surprised how often you set a script. So I think that's gonna work. Now, arguably, this cube moving. So this cube no longer is static object. I just want to move it out. So I call this screen scroll cube. If you did see the earlier streams, with naming conventions inside Unity, you could do it anyhow you want, the way you want. You do it any which way you want. I tend to keep items names what they were. This is a cube, so I like to keep cube that I know. So the first name is screen scroll, and that's more of the description, and last or part what it is. So that's usually the way that I do. You guys can do it however you want. Very specific name conventions and different. For this cube here, I would light cube. You're gonna want to take this point light. Take these objects here, object, point light. For now, I'll just leave this scroll cube that, but eventually we're gonna have kind of some categories. Dynamic. But we're making good progress. Got this desk looking a little better. Something. I think when we move to the green cube, its position changes its energy to this energy. Who knows where? So what we're gonna want to do, but delete these keyframes. We're gonna go ahead and go into record again. Second. Up. Good. Play. So this will be the menu scene camera view. Our buttons are going to be on here. The title's going to be on here. Have all this cool stuff going on in the background. Good. Moving right along, we got some more machinery here. Could add a little bit of lighting. Lights. Add a new. I do another point light. One reason why I like to create the light inside the actual. That way it automatically fairly. I'm also going to change coloring of it. We don't need to be that high. We're gonna go mouse. We also don't need the range. Little tiny bit of light. And toggle it on. A little bit of light makes all the difference. That's gonna work. So moving right along. I think that puts some lighting down over here. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this light. Here, I want to change the coloring to it. Already looks. not sure I want that reflection. Definitely don't. Does look like the reflections from the game. That doesn't look too bad. We can actually adjust it from this view here. So, and give it more range. And vary with this. And you can still see if I turn the point light off. It definitely is made different. But since it's just this little tiny light over, don't want it to just bleed into being here. Too obnoxious. I think I'm gonna go with did move it down just a little bit because even though the light itself looks like it's going straight, I feel like realistic it just for this action like we have biohazard chemical. Moving right along, we do have some buttons over here as well. Change the color. Lighting here. Now we want in view. It looks like that one button illuminated. We could. I don't feel like doing it this way. We could have a point light per button. In fact, you're already seeing exactly. Have some light that leads into the other light and duplicated this point light 6, moved it over to point 7. This does happen, and if we baked our lighting, which might be something we do, that would probably. If we don't bake it, you can see in the start game view like that, left button. Not too big of a deal. If we move it over, see, it is still creating light on a loop because of these. But we almost want to do this with little lights possible. May do something suggest that a different button here. Really only letting us have lights. Go back to the game too. We got a couple lit up and a couple not lit up, but it actually looks pretty good. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in chat or on Discord. But I think it looks better than if we didn't have that. Ultimately, what we gotta do is just try to make each better. I really like the 1% rule. I use it all the time, where every day I try to make something. Whatever it is, this particular scene. So, let's look. Anything else in that scene? We could technically make this button, but I have a feeling since it's so close to this light, we may have that bleeding it over there. Go ahead and try though. Red. Bad. I'll lower the intensity. That look. I don't like bow. Keyboard. Cool if we actually maybe even toggle it like. We don't really have any blinking lights. Would be a great opportunity. Then I would get them. So this is actually very easy. We're essentially just toggling off the light. I'm gonna go over. Don't have managers game object yet. That at its position. That's there. All this managers. Create another empty object. Be maybe just lights now. Because this blinking light is only, for now, it's only going to be this one exact light. I'll go ahead and make this blinking light. I'll go ahead and lock this. Right. I'll add my watermark. What we're going to do is very similarly to the other concepts. We're going to do a wait. Probably do. We want it to be somewhat quick. Every 2 seconds. Position. Here we're going to activate game object. Which I want to say it was the like 5 here. Going to wait again another 2 seconds. deactivate. Copy this state. Activate. Now when this is done, it's going to go all the way back to the top. So there. If you watch the previous streams, you'll also know that when I drag in objects, change color. In general, you're not supposed. I mean, you can, but it's a process that you have to be careful. Just dragging in reference, because if I an object, it breaks. I have to keep. I need to check. So this button should now blink on and off. Oh. Oh. Blinking fast now. Huh. Bad. We look at the Playmaker script, waiting 2 seconds. We can actually change it in the preview mode here. Pause it. Let's say we want to 5. Okay. We could even go a little bit faster. I just go down to go ahead and do that. Then get here. I like it. That. Okay, moving right along. Got something over on this wall. Assuming this is lamp of light here. Light. Color of it, match. We're gonna want. Thought maybe we would want a little bit more intensity, but that's actually not bad. I'm gonna leave it at that. There is kind of another one that we had down here. Board going a bit. Right. Well, I don't think that's not visible from this, but we're already doing that. Okay, least visible lighting, that's all of it. But our scene here still lacks lighting. I did notice, like, if we look right here, the pretty camera angle, but we get a little bit too close to. We could not just a little bit. We could also do a camera angle. But I don't know if that really shows that I like this. I'm just thinking I don't need any of the stuff off to the side here. Camera on Gizmo. See, we can zoom in just. That's pretty good. So, more lightings. The way that do this with lighting. Go back into asset. Go to Apocalypse prefabs. Add some ceiling tile here. But we had some that had built lighting. I think. Remember. One of these. So. Now, do something that's a little bit easier. That's this. We can create our own prefab. What I mean by that is we can make adjustment to this. That way, no time we predict have them already baked in. Not necessarily. We're gonna have them in. I'll kind of explain. So now I'm highlight one. Also find it in the files again. I'm going to spin the. Now it's now ice. Now we're editing. So if we want to add our lights to it, add the lights, maybe. Not sure if this was going to be better with spotlights. Now we'll do point lights. Definitely going to want a D again. Range, drop that 5. Color. In general, what I do, notice how when I drag this light up to here, we get this glare. What I like to do is see the glare and then pull away so that glare is no. So, the second it's gone, that to me is now the proper. Now I am worried that I have some light kicking back on. That's where I'm worried. spotlight because this light is. So this spotlight right off the bat. Not just straight down either. See? Probably not. Want to increase that. Okay, man, got it. Wide cone here. Want to see what this looks like now. Save the back into. It's there. Not going up on the ground. Adjust it here inside. In here. Start off by increasing. Five. You can see this is going to create some pretty cool shadows. It almost makes it look like our graphics are better. Even though we're using these little poly assets, just having that one light, I feel gonna. But you notice how I made changes to prefab. Save those changes. Notice lines here. That means this is different. I can right click on this and apply that. Now the prefab here always have white light. Go back into the self. I'm gonna duplicate this light. These lights. Want them in the backside. These angles. That's the hardest part of it. Figuring out the really wanted some. Now if we save and go back to now have the lighting go in the back, but you can see we're starting to round out our other lights. I'm gonna go ahead and do might even off these backlights. Just for this particular. Maybe in this particular bunker, those backlights aren't working. That'll help. The other lights. Right, great. Now we have the nice wall, or lighting up against the wall, still showing up, and we have the nice lighting coming here. We'll say I want to apply it. I'm going to apply these tab for now. Although each instance of this light might. We also want to go in and do the trick that material above these lights to look like they're active. Ooh, we're gonna need to fun stuff. Crit, cube, right. Materials we already had, this bright white. By that. Now we're gonna have to shape cube and position it like it's inside this. Just for the record, if I were to apply this bright white, I'll use Icebreaker. Not neat. That trick we talked about earlier, we barely make it noticeable. That's all. Now that angle. He does look like back one's off. But take it easy. And in general, you're gonna want these back ones. And create them now, toggle. Find this goal. Part. Oh. Alright, turn these on. Every time you use that particular tile, ceiling tile, it's gonna come with all of that stuff. I don't have to do any of that work. Are gonna show up. But like I mentioned earlier, we back one. Hopefully that looks pretty good. I think it's looking a lot better than first started. Let's go ahead and play on this. See, we got some nice shadows. Lighting isn't showing up, especially like that button lighting. Not showing up. Getting drowned out. This lighting over here is getting drowned out, but what we may do is release the red button. Increase. It's too low. Actually, what we do, create an illuminated cube again. Problem with this, doing that with this button, have this octagon. So we would either need a couple different shapes. We could potentially make multiple cubes. Another triangle. Eight. Capsule. Something like this. There it is. Well, not. Fortunately, that's the only primitives that we pretty. At least the standard download. In fact, actually, but could download what you call Pro Builder, and that'll give you a lot more. But just having something like that, I think at least from a distance. Go up a little. Kind of fake it. Ugh. But once again, in the actual game itself, something like player, something more defined, or something that makes more sense. If I push play, the primitive does show up. I mean, you can see it, but we can add that to that deactivate. Play with that. We go back to light man and other demo. Activate. So now when you push play in the deactivated mode, there will be nothing noticeable. That isn't. That looks quite a bit better. So have the one set of lights here. Next question is going to be, how many more of those do we want to stream them all the way down the sides? Do we want to just kind of sporadically put them throughout this? We definitely don't want every tile to have that. Another way would be to make tile that. So for example, this tile light created that we really just through. Automatically comes with the lighting on. This one, don't want the tile. You can then do like you have some. Never noticed this. I think it's not tall enough for our shelves. We may have to adjust that. Well, you can see the light all the way down the center. It looks like get more lighting on this left side than the right side. That's that bleeding issue that I talked about. Once we bake the scene, that lighting becomes a like fixture for the scene. Baking though gets pretty confusing. Complex feature. So this is what it looks like in view. That's not necessarily what so that's something I tend to try to get everything exactly the way I want it. I bake it. Although you can just set it up where it bakes every time that you do something, it auto bakes. But why? I'm not a fan of auto baking. Slow down. I'll just do one bake every once in a while rather than doing many bakes throughout the. You can see as I moved, just moving right there, kind of changes that lighting up. That's that bleeding concept. I have so many lights now, and they're fighting over who gets. There is normally a kind of a mode, important versus important, but general. So, and do for this particular scene, thinking less. I like this view so far the best. Lighting. Go ahead and that. Might just do kind of sporadic. There. Do we do the same thing? Not the back one. Good. Pink cylinder. Start with this toggle lock. Here, our very first stage shows that we're activating it. Now, I think we're getting really close to being able to add this to our menu. You did want to kind of do something with down here keyboard area. Kind of push it out before. I don't think you But still, I'm not. Keyboard itself could be illuminated. This key. Pod itself does obvious lighting. It's really tough to suggestion. But if we just look at this game view itself, like the Dream Machine. That could be. Yeah. That might be a really good idea. We could open the div when you click new game. And then that's when you Alright, so I think for now we're good. This. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and open our and then I'm going to open this now. Issue with this doing it this way is if we make any changes to this level, this bunker scene, especially this this view here, we're going to want to not only do it in bunker scene, but we're also going to want to you want them to be, so that's either something that we have to work or something with code, even possibly run with but that also don't need higher this particular view. But since the scene itself is go ahead and copy it. Now we can they'll have now with Unity there are some weird concepts that are hard for people to grasp. In general, the majority of our menu scene is on 2D plane. If you remember right, we have this canvas, we have this text, that's all in a 2D, and our bunker is 3D. Another thing, you can see the UI here is huge. That right there. Here, actually. So this isn't something we don't want to scale up the bunker and move it so it shows up behind the title. I don't want to do, but you can set it up. New game view. If I were to push play, this is the side of the bunker. Going up right here. So in camera, right there. Bunker. One, two. Find the corner. Find our in. We're dust that. Right. In the enough to not have there. We did have first trying to so now you can see what not ideal yet still, but we're getting there. And also you can see lighting's different. Have this directional light. Toggle that off. May have some lighting. But you can see we're making progress. We're getting there. One day at a time, one stream at a time. We're gonna eventually get to fine tuning this scene and to eventually create our actual gaming controller, our character controller. That way we can move him around and interact with objects, maybe even do combat. We're gonna get there and making good progress. I think for now I'm gonna go team, take a little bit of a break. So thank you again for watching. Don't forget to join the Discord channel if you can. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for the time.